Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Once again, it's your boy, Mr. Pound for Pound himself. It's definitely going down. UFC 136 predictions. I'm actually going to just do a quick prediction on the whole card. I'm going to tell you pretty much my views, my perspective of the fights, and what I think is going to happen. Only on the main card and the co-main events and the main event, okay? I'm not really going to talk about, the undercard. I really don't think too much of them guys, period. Pretty much point blank. I mean, everybody out there that listen to my videos, watch my videos, cool. Hey, but check it out. As far as UFC versus boxing, I really do prefer boxing as far as just technicalities and technique, and as far as a sport. I've done both. I've done MMA. I've done boxing, and boxing is harder to me. And a lot of other people will agree with me. But I still love UFC. I still love MMA. I still think it's glorified street fighting, but it is what it is. But I am very experienced in watching MMA. I've been watching MMA since the start of UFC 1 and UFC 2 all the way up to where it is now. Pride fighting, Bellator, I watch it all. So it's not that I'm not inexperienced. It's just I prefer boxing over UFC. That's just my preference. But I'm what you call a purist. You know what I mean? So as far as technicality, like I said, I could probably go into MMA and wipe out and have a 10-0 record in no time. But as far as boxing, it's a lot harder. But so, anyways, UFC 136, we're talking about that tonight. My boy Maynard, I do like him. I am a fan, but I'm going to give my unbiased perspective. I think Maynard's a great fighter, but we're going to recap through all the fighters, okay? I'm going to talk about the main card. We got Nam Pham versus Leonard Garcia. Leonard Garcia, good striker, a brawly, gutsy guy. He pulls off victories here and there when you don't expect it. Nam Pham, a lot more solid fighter. I'm gonna go with Nam Pham in that fight for the victory, and that's just about as good as it gets. He's more solid to me. I've seen a few more of his fights, and I think he is a better fighter. I think Nam Pham takes that victory. On to the lightweight 155. We're talking about Joe Lauzon and Melvin Guillard. I like Joe Lauzon. Joe Lauzon's a gritty dude. He can tough it out. He's got good stand-up. He's got good ground game. But Melvin Guillard right now is hot. You know what I mean? I've seen his last few fights. He's knocking people out. And he's very high on that horse of confidence. I think Melvin Guillard wins his victory by knockout. I think Joe Lauzon's going to try to stay on the feet, and I think that's going to be his death wish. And I do think that Melvin Guillard will catch him on the feet. Personally, I feel I would love to step in the ring with Melvin Guillard, 155 pounds, because that is my weight class. Melvin Guillard's stand-up game is good, and the UFC prizes him. Oh, God, his stand-up ain't shit. Okay, I'm sorry to say that, but his stand-up really isn't that good. For the UFC, his stand-up is world's great, but you take him to boxing, his stand-up is horrible. All these UFC guys are horrible. Their stand-up game is ridiculous. It's like almost amateurish. But when you talk UFC, it's like, oh, my God, and you hear Joe Rogan screaming with his high-pitched voice that's so damn annoying, and oh my God, shut up. You don't see real stand up. You know what I mean? But Melvin Guillard by victory, knockout, TKO over Joe Lauzon. That's my prediction. We're going to middleweight 185. We're talking Chael Sonnen versus Brian Stann. I personally like Brian Stann, and I'm glad he did not fight Vanderlei Silva, because Vanderlei is one of my idols. I love Vanderlei in his prime. I love prime Vanderlei. Vanderlei was like the Mike Tyson of Pride. He was ruling things for years and years and years. I loved it when he was on top. He decided to go to that damn Ultimate tournament when he jumped to heavyweight to take Fedor's position and just got annihilated. That pretty much, to me, is what shot his career. That, along with the fight with Mark Hunt, where he gave away 60 pounds, and I was just like, Vanderlei, what are you doing, dude? You're stupid. But some fighters are smart, like Mayweather, that make smart decisions and make good decisions. Some fighters are just dumb and just like to fight, and that's Vanderlei. Let me fight a guy at 70 pounds, so his career is shot. Brian Stann was the guy. I'm glad Brian Stann didn't fight Vanderlei, because I personally thought Brian Stann was going to stretch Vanderlei again. And I'm glad that fight didn't happen. But he's fighting Chael Sonnen tonight, which I think is a good fight. It's a good matchup. I personally think, I have a lot of friends that are in the UFC. I have a lot of friends that are into MMA. And, you know, they talk worlds of Chael Sonnen. Oh, he's a good fighter. Chael Sonnen ain't shit, okay? I'm sorry to say it. He's 24-11, okay? You got 11 losses. To me, you're nothing. I mean, 11 losses in boxing, you know, you're not talking legendary status. You're talking like, you know, you're all right type stuff. But if you're talking like the old school legends that fought hundreds of fights and only got 11 losses, that's legendary. But we're talking MMA. Chael Sonnen's okay. I've seen him fight a long time, okay? You know, UFC media and mainly his mouthpiece, you know, he talks a lot. He's got a good gift of gab. He could talk really good. He put up a good showing against Anderson Silva. So now people are really giving Chael credit as to like, oh, Chael's so good. I've seen him lose fights, you know, that were he shouldn't have lost. I've seen him lose fights where I was like, Chael's gonna win this fight, and he lost it. You know what I mean? He's not a solid guy that completely always wins spectacularly. He's okay, you know, but the media and UFC, they gotta make, you know, these guys like seem like they're larger than life. So, you know, now Chael Sonnen has a big name. But ironically, after saying all that mess about him, I'm going to go Chael Sonnen, and the only reason I'm going Chael Sonnen is because I do believe this fight's going to the ground, because Chael's stand-up game is not that great. We all know that, but he is a good wrestler. He's a great wrestler. You know, he gets the fight to the ground. He can hold you there, and that's the good thing about Chael Sonnen. He fights someone like Anderson Silva again. I think Anderson figures him out. You know, I'm not going to the ground. I'm not even going to let you get me there. Stands him up, knocks him out, that type of thing. You know, if Brian Stan can do that, and Brian Stan has a really good stand-up game. Haven't seen too much of his wrestling game. We've seen him, you know, avoid takedowns and stuff like that, but, you know, he has a real good stand-up. I mean, he has good power, good punching power, nice straight clean punches. If he can land that on Chael, we could see a good interesting fight. But my personal opinion, I think Chael's going to take him to the ground and try to ground and pound out a victory. We're heading on to the UFC featherweight championship. We're talking about Jose Aldo versus Kenny Florian. I personally hate Kenny Florian. I don't think he's that good. I mean, he's 14-5. I saw, you know, his fights. He's okay. He's never been a superstar to me. Doesn't even have the superstar look. I mean, he's just, nothing about him screams superstar, Kenny Florian, and I've never liked him for that. His fighting styles to me is okay. You know, sometimes he's been exciting, sometimes he's been boring, but Jose Aldo, I must say, that's my man. Jose Aldo and Frankie Edgar, I want to see that fight eventually happen. I think that is the fight to make. And just personally opinion, I like both the guys. Frankie Edgar, ironically, check this out. I know you guys listen to my posts. You guys know that I fight. You guys know that I'm from a boxing standpoint, but I've done kickboxing, I've done MMA. Check this out. I would not want to fight Frankie Edgar, but I wouldn't mind fighting Jose Aldo. And I'll tell you why. Frankie Edgar's style is very confusing. He's in and out. He has a weird herky-jerky style. He has a weird rhythm. It's just weird for a guy with a boxing style or someone that goes off rhythm and counter-punching shots to get used to. He has a weird style. Jose Aldo has a great style. He's a little more predictable. You know, he stands kind of there, he waits, you know, and a guy that kind of stands there and waits. Jose Aldo stands there and he kind of waits and picks his shots and lands some spectacular stuff. But against a guy that does that, you can get off. You know, you can, if you press the fight, you can get off and get some shots off and land some good punches. And so I've always thought Frankie Edgar and Jose Aldo would be a good fight. But anyway, let's back to the topic on hand, Jose Aldo versus Kenny Florian. I am going to go Aldo all the way for numerous reasons. Aldo's, you know, renowned for his ground game. We have yet to see it really. In his last fight, we saw some of it, but we have yet to see that renowned ground game that we've heard of, because he's just wiping people out. You know, he's got great stand-up, great legs. He's got great kicks, great punches. We saw what he did to Uriah Faber. He just made his legs into meat. And the guy's phenomenal. I'm going Jose Aldo by either knockout or stoppage on the ground. I don't think this fight's going to go the distance. I think Kenny Florian's going to pretty much get exposed tonight for what he really is. And that is just, I don't think Kenny Florian's that good. But he's okay. Anyway, the main event, Gray Maynard versus Frankie Edgar. That is my boy, Frankie Edgar. I like the man. I like his style. I think it's confusing. I think he has a great herky-jerky style. I think he has good boxing. I think he has great wrestling. I think he did great in the rematch with Maynard. I thought it was a great fight. I mean, the guy came back from he was pretty much knocked out. He was knocked out. It's hard to come back from something like that. That guy was out. But he came back, and I was telling my friends while we're watching the fight, I said, don't worry, Edgar's going to come back. He's going to make it through the first round, and he did. The guy's tough. You know, he's small. He's a tough, gritty dude. He's very skilled on his feet. He's very skilled with his hands. He's a good wrestler. Gray Maynard, mainly, he's a big dude. He's a big guy for that weight division. And he's a good wrestler. As far as his hands are concerned, I'm not impressed at all with his hands. Me against him toe-to-toe, I wipe him out on the hands. But he's got the ground game, probably take me down, not, ground and pound me out, whatever. But against Edgar, I see Edgar and Maynard clashing as far as Maynard trying to get him down to the ground. I don't think Maynard's going to get him down. I think it's going to be a stand-up battle. I think Edgar's going to stay outside. He's going to pop the jab. He's going to work it just like he did the latter half of that second fight. And I think it's going to be a victory for Frankie Edgar. I think Edgar's going to come out and do what he did in the later half of that second fight, and he's going to kind of stick to routine and beat Maynard. See, Maynard is a big, strong guy. He's not going to really go nowhere. He's durable. So, and you got to break a guy down like that, and especially UFC, versus boxing. UFC is a little more dangerous because you got the 4-ounce gloves versus 10-ounce gloves. So 4-ounce gloves, when you take risks, you're taking a real risk. You know what I mean? You're going in there, you're throwing punches, you're opening up, loading combinations, and you're taking a risk to get clipped with something. So, Frankie Edgar can go in and do his boxing, which he has beautiful boxing, but he just can't get caught by Maynard. And like I said, as far as wrestling is concerned, I pretty much put them on the equal path. They're pretty decent as far as wrestling, both the guys. So I think it's going to come down to being on the feet. And as far as on the feet, I think Edgar's going to learn from the first two fights. He knows what worked. He knows what's best, and he's going to stick to what worked. So I see Edgar victory in that fight. Frankie Edgar wins by probably, I'd say, unanimous decision or a close split decision. So there are my predictions there. UFC 136, and I hope you guys have a great time. I hope you guys watch it, check it out, and go ahead and respond back to me. Let me know what you think. Peace.